Welcome to today's live crystal channeling with gold rutile quartz. And I am very fond of this crystal. For those of you who have read my books or who have followed me for a while, you know that I was a full-time pro crystal healer in New York City for about a decade. And I'm also an empath. As an empath, and especially as an empath who was doing spiritual healing work for a living, I found the energy of New York City crushing. I found it crushing. I found it overwhelming. It was like a pressure cooker for me. There were days where I just wanted to go through the whole subway system waving a big stick of sage. You know, the energy is very overwhelming in big cities. We've got all these people living on top of each other, having their experiences. Certainly in coping with the rigors of living in a big city, I would be exhausted a lot. All of that being said, part of the reason why I'm just sharing all of this is sort of to pave the ground for gold rutile. Gold rutile quartz became one of those crystals that I would turn to a lot whenever I needed an energy boost and a solid energy boost, whenever I was feeling super fatigued, whenever I felt, you know, that my frequency was low and I needed to raise my frequency either for intuitive work or healing work or, you know, whatever else it might be. A gold rutile quartz was literally like plugging in a battery, just a really high frequency, powerful healing crystal. So I'm looking forward to this channeling today. And so thank you all for joining me. Thank you for the hearts and the love. Ooh. Well, here we go. I just had a really big energy pulse, you know, and the thing is, and here we go, here we go. Here's the energy coming in, really quick. I mean, it's literally kind of like plugging into a socket. It reminds me of a fellow crystal healing colleague I knew at the time when I first started working with this, where she was like, you know, it's great if you're tired, but if you're already energized, it's going to make you super hyper. So definitely, you know, one of the first things that's coming through is this is not a crystal to be wearing or working with within 3 hours before going to bed, because you may have trouble keeping asleep, falling asleep. It's not a crystal I recommend keeping by your bedside or sleeping with either, because what I'm seeing is there's going to be, I'm even getting channeling in through my ear right now. It's going to keep you awake at night. It's going to be like that wired, tired thing, like, why can't I sleep? Which is something I experience sometimes. So you don't want to keep this in your room. For those of you who may live in kind of one room domiciles or spaces, you can cover it. I'm being shown a piece of red silk. Red silk, preferable to black silk, but you can also use black silk to just sort of keep the energy contained within the crystal so that it's not disturbing you at night. Or of course you can always resort to keeping it in a shoebox in your closet. But so yes, really high frequency crystal. And I'm fortunate in that today I feel healthy, I feel energized, I feel happy already. So I'm like, my energy is just really going high. But you know, it's interesting because I feel this energy, and I can definitely, I'm seeing the different energy pathways through my body. So it's like coming up in here, as it almost always does whenever I'm channeling and holding a crystal in my receptive hand. But it's like I can feel there's energy lines, and they're like golden lines too, or golden coppery lines, almost kind of like wire going down. There's one that's looping down in my root and then going up. Actually, it's almost like strings on a violin. There's one going through each one of my chakras. And what I'm being told too is, if any of you have ever looked, sometimes you see these charts online where there's a nerve plexus that actually it coexists in around the same space where energetically your chakras exist. So it's like, you know, it's tapping into these nerve plexi. And whoa, again, for those of you who are clairvoyant and who watch these channelings, like my third eye is just like boing, it's just there, really expanded right now. which is always a very sensitive place for me anyway. You know, for those of you who get acupuncture and they stick a needle there, you can't do it. It's like I've literally got a physical eye there. But anyway, so that's super, super, super expanded. I'm feeling rays of energy going up through my crown chakra, and there's also some energy going down through the ground, but not as much as you would expect. And the other thing that I'm starting to see is I'm starting to see what in some spiritual belief systems or systems of philosophy that people espouse, they refer to the great central sun, the great source of consciousness and life-giving energy in the universe. And I see what I feel is that, but it could also be our sun, our humble yet wonderful sun. But I'm seeing like rays of sun, and I'm seeing rays of sunlight come back down. And what I'm being told is that, you know, this energy, much like the actual photonic energy that, you know, comes in through our eyes, through the irises of our eyes, and then is translated by our glands, by our pituitary or pineal gland. I'm not seeing clearly which one, but it helps to translate, you know, that light energy into nourishment and energy for the endocrine system and for the glandular system in our body. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of this light energy is coming down and is kind of nurturing and supporting and sort of boosting the vitality of what feels like my endocrine, what feels like my lymphatic system. Of course, none of this is medical advice, but we know this. But just what I'm experiencing in this channeling, really nourishing. And so I'm feeling that kind of coming down, and I feel like that's more my tonsil area. I was sick at the start of this week, so that's really interesting that I'm feeling it there. I woke up with swollen tonsils at the start of this week, and I'm feeling that energy go in there and like down through my body, and it's just really revitalizing, really energizing, really vibrant energy. And so what it's saying is that this is a source of connecting to universal cosmic energy when you need that energy boost, but you need it from a healthy and solid, and what I'm hearing is sustainable place. So it's not from hitting the sugar, it's not from hitting the caffeine, it's not from, you know, whatever other kind of things you might like to stimulate. This is channeling source energy into your body. That's what this gold rutile quartz is, helping to draw this energy into your body to nourish and sustain and support you. And again, you know, my body is starting to process and ground this energy, so I'm starting to, I think, come down a little bit from my gold rutile high. But it's one of those things where it's definitely, you know, long term, this is, well, I guess, anyway, what's coming through is, you know, long term, it's not something that really you're seeking to do to sustain yourself if there is something wrong or out of balance, meaning you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly. You know, there's something that needs to be corrected in terms of your health and self-care. You know, ultimately, you don't want to be using crystal energy as a crutch or a band-aid. You want to be using it to help you sustain and heal and support yourself. But I'm definitely also feeling for those people who feel like they want to run off more of that energy and they're already in, you know, a rather healthy, balanced state, and they want to maybe experience sort of a higher, more universally energized state of being. What I'm seeing is that this is something that is not unhealthy or that will throw you out of balance. It's really a matter of where you are in terms of your healing system. But definitely for, you know, as I'm wrapping up here, for anyone who is a healer, for anyone who is, you know, a psychic, a medium, or also someone who, you know, works in really high sort of high intensity demanding jobs, like maybe you're EMS worker, hospital emergency room person, maybe you're a visionary CEO of like a massive international conglomerate, you know, a designer at Fashion Week. I think I've worked with all of those people in my time in my crystal healing practice. This is a crystal that you can wear and work with, and I'm putting that down now. So that was the channeling this week for gold rutile quartz. If you could feel this, this is like super hot. There's so much energy has just come through this crystal. So thank you so much for watching. I think I'm going to go run around the block about 50 times and then I'm going to get on with my day. So sweet blessings to all of you, and I will be back same time, same place probably earlier next week.